Now that we're done with the introduction to management accounting, let us now proceed to the different classifications of costs. But first, let us define what is cost. Cost is the value foregone or the sacrifice of resources in order to achieve economic benefits that will promote the profit-making ability of the entity. It is also known as the expenditures to acquire goods and services to assist the entity's operations. Para mas ma-retain sa inyo yung definition ng cost, let us explain it further. Ano ba yung tinutukoy natin na value foregone and economic benefits? Once na kayo ay nagtatrabaho na or kung may sarili kayo na business, in every business transaction that you will encounter, there will always be value that you receive and value that you part with. So in every business transaction, there is a value received and value parted with. Ano yung tinutukoy natin na value received? This can be in the form of goods or services na magre-result into future economic benefits. So that will result to future economic benefits. Ano naman yung tinutukoy natin na value parted with? Ito naman yung resources or assets. Paid or traded. Let's give a concrete example. So sa isang business, there is what we call the marketing department. So yung employees na under ng marketing department, ang value na nare-receive na company mula sa kanila ay ang kanilang services. Yung services nga nila is to promote or sell the products of the company. And that promotion and selling of products is what we call the economic benefits. So once na makabenta ka ng product, at the same time, the company will earn some revenue. Ano naman yung value parted with na tinutukoy natin? o yung resources or asset paid or traded. Siyempre, hindi naman libre lahat. Pag nag-render ng service si employees, dapat sasahuran mo siya. So, ang tinutukoy natin na value parted with in that case is the salaries of the employees, which you will pay with cash. So, nakareceive ka ng services that promotes and sells your products, and in exchange, you pay them with cash. Since, hindi ka naman makaka-earn ng revenue unless you will incur some costs. So, what are the classification of costs? First one, manufacturing costs. So, nabanggit ko na sa inyo nung una na sa management accounting, ina-assume nyo na nakapag-cost accounting na kayo. Pero since hindi pa kayo nakakapag-cost accounting, sa discussion ng manufacturing costs, mag-insert ako ng mga cost accounting concepts and procedures. Para nang sa ganon, maintindihan nyo yung mga items na makikita nyo sa schedule ng cost of goods manufactured. Kasi later, sa product costing, may encounter nyo doon yung job order costing and process costing, which dinidiscuss comprehensively sa cost accounting. So what is manufacturing cost? This refers to the direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead incurred in the production. Explain natin isa-isa yung bawat manufacturing cost. First one would be direct materials. Direct materials, it refers to items that form part of the final product and can be measured and directly charged to the product. Bigay tayo ng example. Example niyan is leather sa production ng shoes. Another example, lumber for the production of furnitures. And metal parts for the production of automobiles. How about direct labor? This refers to costs of labor expended in producing the product. That can be measured and directly charged to the product. Examples: salaries of programmers in the production of Android apps. Another example, salaries of construction workers in the building of houses. Another one, salaries of dressmakers in the production of t-shirts. And lastly, factory overhead. This is also known as manufacturing expense or burden. It refers to the indirect element of cost. It includes all manufacturing expenses that are not classified as direct labor and direct materials. Examples. Examples are indirect materials, indirect labor, factory supplies, depreciation of factory building, and factory and insurance. Under ng examples ng factory overhead, may mention tayo na indirect material saka indirect labor. Kailan ba i-consider ang materials as indirect? And when you will consider a labor cost as indirect labor? Sa first one, indirect materials. This refers to materials that are needed for the completion of the product, but its consumption with regard to the product is either too small or the allocation would be too complex so that for convenience, it is treated as indirect product cost. Ano-ano yung mga examples na to na ang consumption is too small or yung pag-allocate niya sa bawat product is masyadong complex. Hindi mo siya ma-measure or ma-charge directly sa particular na product. Halimbawa niyan is glue and polish in the manufacture of shoes. What about indirect labor? Indirect labor refers to cost of manpower that cannot be identified as pertaining to a particular product. Ito yung salaries and wages ng mga workers na nagwo-work siya inside the factory. Pero hindi sila directly involved dun sa paggawa ng product. Examples: salaries and wages of foremen and utility men. So these are the items that constitute the manufacturing costs. And as a management accountant, you should be able to summarize the details of this cost in a financial statement that you will prepare every month after the production. This statement is called the Statement of Cost of Goods Manufactured. For example, let us read first the problem. The following are the details of costs incurred in the factory of Sun Corporation for the month of March 2021. Prepare a statement of cost of goods manufactured. So, binigay sa atin yung details mula sa direct materials March 1 up to work in process March 31. And then on the last part, hinihingi rin yung cost of goods sold with additional given of finished goods March 1 and finished goods March 31. So how do we compute for the cost of goods manufactured? Gagamitin natin itong statement formula na to. Una, we'll write the heading consists of 3 lines. The name of the company, which sa example natin si Sun Corporation. Then yung title ng statement, Statement of Cost of Goods Manufactured. The period covered, which is March 2021. So for the period ending March 31, 2021. Una mong kukumputin is yung direct materials use. Ang formula niya, direct materials So, direct materials beginning. Sa example natin, yun ay March 1. Direct materials March 1 amounting to 20,000. So, 20,000. Then add net purchases. Under nyan, para makompute yung net purchases, we write na materials purchases. Then we add freight in. So materials purchases amounting to 40,000, freight in amounting to 1,000. If naalala nyo nung basic accounting nyo, itong freight, yan yung binabayaran nyo na charge para ma-deliver sa company yung goods. Meron pa nga yung dalawang terms, yung FOB shipping point, saka FOB destination. Pagkatapos nun, we will get the total. So, 40,000 plus 1,000, 41,000. And then, we deduct the purchase discount. Amounting to 2,000. We get the net purchases, 41,000 less 2,000, 39,000. And pag inad natin to sa direct materials March 1, we will get the total direct materials available for use. So, 20,000 plus 39,000 equals 59,000. And then, we deduct the direct materials ending. Or, for sa example natin is the direct materials March 31. So, less direct materials March 31. That amounts to 5,000. You will get the direct materials use. $59,000 minus 5,000, that is 54,000. And then we add the direct labor. $50,000. And the factory overhead, consisting of indirect materials, amounting to 2,000, factory utilities, 3,000, factory supervision, amounting to 8,000. Depreciation of plant and equipment, 4,000. Factory insurance, 2,500. And lastly, factory repairs, 1,500. Let's get the total. The total factory overhead amounts to 21,000. Then we get the total of direct materials used plus direct labor plus factory overhead. We will get the total manufacturing cost. So 54,000 plus 50,000 plus 21,000 equals 125,000. Then we add the work in process beginning. Sa given natin, ito yung work in process March 1. Ano ba si work in process? Siya yung direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead na currently nasa production na. Work in process March 1 amounting to 25,000. Then get the total. $125,000 plus 25,000. 150,000. And then less work in process ending. Which sa example natin, yan yung work in process March 31. Amounting to 10,000. Then we'll get the cost of goods manufactured. So cost of goods manufactured. $150,000 minus 10,000 is equal to 140,000. What about the cost of goods sold? How do we compute it? We compute it using the formula. Finished goods beginning add yung na-compute mo na cost of goods manufactured. Then we get the total goods available for sale. And then, ilas mo yung finished goods ending. Makukuha mo na yung cost of goods sold. So, apply natin yung formula. So, finished goods beginning, which sa example natin, yan yung finished goods March 1 na 15,000. Add mo yung cost of goods manufactured for the month. So, cost of goods manufactured equal siya sa 140,000. Then, we will get the total goods available for sale. 15,000 plus 140,000 equals 155,000. And then we list the finished goods ending, which sa example natin, yan yung finished goods March 31 na 10,000. We will get the cost of goods sold. Magkano siya? 155,000 minus 10,000, 145,000. So that's how you compute for the cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold.